It's hot, it's dark, it's wet. And although your hands are incredibly small, you're at peace. Then suddenly the rhythm ramps up, and under almost unbearable pressure, you squeeze through the birthing canal of life. And in this terrifying yet miraculous event, you shift from one space to another. And yes, you guessed it, I'm talking about doors.
Now, I've described something nearly all of us have experienced. It's the primal introduction to the door. Now, doors have been the inspiration for artists, poets, and accountants for well over 50 years.
Now, in this episode, you, the viewer, may find some elements hard to swallow. But trust me, I've worked with some of the most enthusiastic journalists who all can honestly speak for themselves. And with the simple touch of the button and the use of the internet computer, we can source these sources from all around the world via the use of a specialized software known as Goggle. Now, my ex-girlfriend, Candy Maple, who I met on Tinder, lives behind this very door. Now, she's recently severed all communication, and I can't help but feel that the only sense of closure I'm going to get is simply this closed door. Now, I'm sure you all understand that a door is not simply a glorified tent flap. It comprises an integrated assemblage of highly specialized components. Let's take a closer look. Now, at the base of the door is what's called a sill. It's a silly name, I know. Basically a door step. Now, here is the door jamb, for jamming your fingers in, quite obviously. And behind the door, you can't see them at this point, but there's a couple of 2 to 3 highly specialized mechanisms that the whole operation hinges on. Their name eludes me at this point. Now, there's a keyhole for looking through to see who's home. And last but not least, apart from the body of the door, is the door knob. Now, let's take a closer look. Good, great. Now, to understand how the knob forms over time, I'd like to show you something. Now, if you take an untreated knob and slice through the center line, you'll find an endless series of knobs from the smallest to the biggest outer knob. It's a lot like my 40-year career in media.
Not feeling right. Oh yeah, sorry about this. Oh, it's not going away. Oh, here it comes.
I'm Frank Lee, and you're watching Notice This.
Notice this. Notice this. Join me next week as we tackle one of the most boring yet uplifting subjects I've ever explored: flight, and what it means to the youth of today. This presentation was not brought to you by the Government of South Australia or the Motor Accident Commission or the Australian Labor or Liberal parties. All objects used in this presentation are real but cannot speak for themselves.